Soldier Field in Chicago. The Broncos with a 10-3 lead on the Bears. At halftime, Marv Albert with Mike Ditka in what has been a sloppy first half. Of course, field conditions playing a major role.
I think I bring out these great offensive explosions in football teams. The Bears defense have done the job. They've shut down really the Denver Broncos. Denver got 2 turnovers, which are key turnovers in the football game. 1 deep in the Bears territory, 1 deep in their territory. So far, that's a big difference in the football.
Well, let's take a look at the Coors Light halftime statistics, and turnovers have certainly been the story. Denver only 4 first downs, only 80 yards. Here is the kickoff, and the second half is underway. Del Pino with the return. Robert Del Pino.
Rod Cox.
All right, back to the stats. Denver 5 first downs. Chicago with 7. 3 turnovers committed by the Bears.
Really, that's the big difference in the game. Once they were driving for a touchdown, the other time they were backed up. Denver comes away with, I believe, 10 points as a result of that.
And a first down at the 24 for the Broncos. This is Bernstein. He's hit for a loss. Number 53, Dante Jones, involved along with 55, Vincent Smith.
Actually, Marv, that's another version from a different formation of what they call the counter gap. It's the same idea. They're pulling 2 weak side guys, and it's a great job. The guy who made that play right there was number 23, who has done an outstanding job. Sean Gale, and Sean has been around for a lot of years, and he's played very, very steady football for the Bears.
And a loss of 1. It's a second down and 11. Third quarter just underway here in Chicago. And it is completed to Shannon Sharp, who has been quiet to this point. That's only his second catch. Joe Kane, the outside linebacker, on the tackle.
Well, everybody on Denver's offense has been quiet. I mean, John Elway's having an MVP season, and he really hasn't been able to do very much. And I think it's a great tribute to the Bears defense, because they have played outstanding defense the whole year. If they have any offense at all to go with that, I would venture to say they would have the minimum 3 or 4 more wins.
And still without the offense kicking in, and with that strong defense, they have won 7 and lost 6. The completion for a first down of Cedric Tillman. Anthony Blaylock made the stop. So Elway is now 8 for 14 for only 67 yards. Picked up a first down at the 44.
You would have to go back a long time before you saw that kind of production out of John Elway and the Denver Broncos on offense for 1 half. But I'll tell you when the last time was. The last time they played in Soldier Field against the Bears, John Elway did not have a good day that day either because of the Bears defense.
Marshall left and Tillman right. Bernstein is the defense and takes the handoff. He's to the 47. Stopped by Joe Kane. John Elway, who is having a terrific season. Last week against Kansas City, 20 for 30, 3 touchdowns. Look at the rankings here. First in the NFL in completions, in yards, second in attempts, second in touchdowns with 22, and he has completed just under 63%.
You know, he talked about how comfortable he is in the offense and the number of weapons he has, and the fact that Pat Bowlen, their owner, went out and gave him some help on the offensive line to protect his backside, and I think that's really helped.
Bernstein with the hole. Broke tackles, gets inside the 40-yard line. So Rod Bernstein with a 14-yard run. Stopped by the free safety, Mark Carrier.
This guy's a freight truck. He's a freight truck. They catch McMichael on the inside move. A great lead block by the guard pulling around, and he knocks Joe Kane out of there as a result. Bernstein, and he's a big man. He's tough to bring down. This is just a good job of getting it done. Actually, this is a pretty good job by Shannon Sharp on turning out on Trace Armstrong. He didn't block him effectively, but he tied him up.
And a first down at the Chicago 38. The short set by Elway and completes to Marshall. Donnell Wolford on the stop of Arthur Marshall. That's his 3rd catch. Marshall was a question mark coming in because of a sprained knee. And you're looking at the offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos, Jim Fassel, calls the plays from the sidelines. John Elway has been very comfortable with that arrangement. Jim Fassel, the offensive coordinator at Stanford when Elway was there.
John raves about the job that Jim has done, and he's so comfortable in the offense. He feels like he's getting to use all the tools he has.
And off the 2nd and 2, Bernstein picks up the first down.
You talk about this play. Look at this play here, because this guy is hitting the backfield. They come with a safety blitz. The Bears are pushing people up there. Again, they're going to make Denver beat them with the passing game. I believe that. Just a great job. You'll see some people coming up the middle here. Bang, here comes the safety, Sean Gale, and they both missed the tackle. That's very unlisted right there. That's Chris Zorich, and Chris Zorich is an excellent tackler, and he did not make a good tackle there. As a result, Denver gets the first down he probably should have made.
8th play of the drive that has carried 5 minutes into this 3rd quarter. Elway getting the protection, and it's dropped.
The Denver offense has made a lot of adjustments at halftime, and they're attacking different aspects of the Bear defense than they did in the first half. They're doing everything on a much quicker set, and they're also trying to get the ball to the receiver quicker than they were. They were trying to go down the field a little bit too much in the first half.
So Marshall took the pump and not able to hang on. It's a 2nd down and 10 at the 27-yard line. Tillman is flanked to the left. Marshall to the right. Bernstein, the running back. Bernstein checked it out and then decided to go wide and is brought down by Kane. Joe Kane and Donnell Wolford combining on the stop. Joe Kane in his 5th year from Oregon Tech, started with Seattle last season, signed as a free agent.
One of the players that Dave Wannstedt brought in to add a dimension of speed to the Chicago Bears, and I don't know a whole lot about Joe Kane except that I know that he can move. He's a guy that can play in space. He's a hard hitter, and he has very, very good speed for a linebacker, and that's what Dave was looking for, Dave Wannstedt.
It's a 3rd and 9. Broncos 10, Bears 3, 9.5 left. In the 3rd, Elway could not find anyone, and then does, and has a first down combining with the tight end, Reggie Johnson. That is his first catch of the afternoon. The free safety, Mark Carrier, made the tackle.
Well, this is just a great job by John Elway. He buys time. They come with a blitz. They're in what we call split backs. They block maximum. They only get a couple guys out, the receiver, 2 outside receivers and a tight end. Reggie Johnson's basically a blocking tight end. Phillips told us he did not practice at all during the week, and he was, but he thought he would start and play in the game, and big play for him.
Followed by a sore hamstring. In fact, made his return last week after missing 2 games. Del Pino is stopped at the line. Robert Del Pino signed as a free agent from the Los Angeles Rams after 5 years with the Rams. Kane and McMichael on the stop. We were chatting yesterday with Steve McMichael over at the Bears camp, and Mikey did ask about you. I know you. He was one of the few guys that I think you liked on this.
I tell you one thing. I like Steve McMichael. He plays the game of football the way it's supposed to be played, and he doesn't whine about anything. The whiners kind of kill me, but he doesn't care about that.
Elway throwing across the field, but no one in sight. On Elway going straight across the field. Well, McMichael said, you know, even with you up in the broadcast booth, he is going to expect from time to time to look up because he'll hear your voice screaming he feels at him.
That didn't happen very much. You don't have to holler at players who play as hard as Steve McMichael did. Played all the time. That last play was going to be the old fall down screen back to the tight end, but somebody, when he fell down, it looks like somebody fell down on top of him because he never got out. John Elway had nobody to throw the football to.
13th play of the drive. Penalty marker is thrown. Again, Elway can't find anybody. And goes down.
That's going to be an interesting call. That may be a defensive hold.
A flag on the play.
Then again, it may not, Mark. And who am I to speculate?
Against the Bears.
They're call.
Lined up in the neutral zone. Number 95 on the defense. 5 yards, still third down.
It's called on Richard Dent.
Well, I don't know how many times I've told Richard about this, but evidently he still hasn't listened. Yes, I'm sure. I think that was Trace Armstrong. I think they made the wrong call. It was definitely Trace Armstrong. I knew Richard would listen to me.
Third penalty called on the Bears. Denver has not been hit at all. It's a third down and 4. Now for Chicago, 7. Elway with the look. And able to complete. Tony Kimbrough, 7th round draft pick, rookie from Jackson State, with his first catch of the day. Wolford on the stop, and it is short of a first down.
You know, the effectiveness of the drive, it is a good play by the Bears. And again, they come with the blitz. They're putting a lot of pressure on Elway. Dante was right at his feet. Dante Jones, that is. But again, they took 8 minutes off the clock, at least 8 minutes, Marv. If they come away with 3 points, it's a very effective drive.
Well, a 4th down and 3. And Jason Elam comes on to attempt from 24 yards away. Earlier hit from 29. And he's extended the Broncos lead. 7:02 remaining in the third. Denver up 13-3.
Okay, classic cars.
63 Vet.
Split window.
Right.
68 Camaro Super Sport.
GTO, any year.
Nice. Gran Torino.
Starsky and Hutch.
Good car. 65 Mustang Ragdoll.
It's obvious.
75 Pacer.
Tail fin.
Bumper bullets.
Bench seats.
Driving.
Boss 302s. 427 big block LED8 with an 850 double pump.
Beechwood aged Budweiser. Crisp, clean, classic.
People around Flat Rock, Michigan feel more secure driving the Mazda 626. They make them themselves, so they put dual airbags in every one of theirs. And every one of yours, too.
The water on the left is being heated by electricity. On the right, by gas. For the cost of heating this much water with electricity, we'd like to show you how much more you can get with gas. And if your neighborhood doesn't have natural gas, you can still heat for less than electricity with propane gas. So no matter where you live, why settle for the water on the left when gas gives you all that hot water on the right? Gas, America's best energy value.
In Flat Rock, Michigan, they build the Mazda 626 so that even with its V6 engine, it still costs less than a 4-cylinder Camry LE. Around Flat Rock, they think that's a powerful argument for the 626. And so do we.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Compact Computer Corporation. By Wendy's Old-Fashioned Hamburgers. The best hamburgers and a whole lot more. And by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste.
Welcome back to Soldier Field in Chicago. The snow has stopped. Temperature at about 35 degrees. 7:02 remaining in this third quarter. And Jason Elam getting set to kick it off to Curtis Conway. 14-play drive by Denver. They consumed 7 minutes and 58 seconds and had to settle for the field goal. Conway on the return. Out to the 25-yard line. So it's Denver 13, Chicago 3. We'll be right back.
People around Flat Rock, Michigan have a lot of reasons to be proud. One of which is building the Mazda 626. Because even with dual airbags and a V6 engine, it still costs less than a 4-cylinder Camry LE. 6 cylinders that cost less than 4? People in Flat Rock think that's a powerful argument for the 626. And so do we. Mazda, it just feels right.
Random access memory. Really good. Now, once again,
Megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte.
At Compaq, we realized that learning about computers can be pretty intimidating. So we invented Presario, computers designed and priced to make it easier. They come loaded with all the software you need to get started right away. And they're backed by a 3-year warranty. WYSIWYG. So instead of sounding smart about computers, you can be smart about computers. The new Presario from Compaq.
You don't need an invitation, ain't no black tie affair. Life is just a party, all your friends are there. Don't just raise a glass, come on and take a look. That's when America parties. It could had a party going since 1859. Those who take alcohol from old lang syne. When you do it this good, you better throw away the book. That's when America parties. It could when America parties. It could.
John Elway at the controls of a Denver team that averages 24.5 points per game. They lead the AFC second in the NFL to San Francisco. A host of excellent moves from the offensive point of view. Look at these additions. Free agents Bernstein, Delpino, Habib, and Mags Zimmerman. Milburn drafted. So they have come a long way offensively. They have not exactly exploded here today, but I would think field and weather conditions have something to do with that.
Well, he fully praised his owner, Pat Bowlen, for going out and get the players that would make them a better football team. I think Pat's done that, and I think everybody who watches football and understands football knows that.
Hayward on the completion. Run out by Carl Mecklenburg.
There's a good example. If he could have unhitched the trailer, he might have gained another 5, but the trailer is hooked to the belly.
Taking a cheap shot.
Well, I guess I've been in the line of fire too many times not to fire back once in a while.
But Craig should have his opportunity.
Yeah, boy.
All right, it's a pickup of 3, a second down and 7 at the 28-yard line.
Well, what a great job of running. What a great job of vision running, because there they came with the blitz again, the safety blitz. Dennis Smith was coming, and as a result, this guy's just got good eyes. I mean, he saw what was happening. He bounced it back to the weak side here and gained something where he should have had nothing. Watch what happens here. Bing. Pretty good job of blocking by Bortz and Fontenot up front.
So it's a 3rd down and 3. Tim Worley in the starting lineup today, replacing Neil Anderson, who has not seen any action.
Bears need a first down right here. They've got to get a first down or they're going to get in big trouble. I believe they make a first down.
And it is Worley again who does pick it up. Stopped by the combination of Greg Cragen, Dan Williams, Dave Wyman, and a sarcastic reaction from the crowd on the announcement of that first down picked up.
I don't think that's sarcastic. I think they're just applauding the home team, and I think it's the right thing to do. It's a heck of a lot better than booing the home team.
I did note a little tinge of the sardonic reaction there, Mark. I don't know. It is a first down at the 36. We come up on 5 minutes remaining. 3rd quarter. Denver 13 and Chicago 3. Peter Tom Willis completing to Tim Worley. And that's a pickup of 8. Simon Fletcher on the stop. Second catch of the day by Worley. The Chicago Bears at 7-6. They are 1 game behind 8-5 Green Bay and 8-5 Detroit. Now tomorrow Detroit playing
I believe Minnesota. Yeah. Is it Minnesota?
Well,
oh, they're playing the 49ers.
Right. Green Bay will play Minnesota in Milwaukee. It's a 2nd down and 2. And it is Worley. Yes, Detroit is home for San Francisco. Green Bay playing Minnesota in Milwaukee. A look at the remaining schedule next week. The Bears home for Detroit. That could be a crucial game. That's why last week's loss at Tampa Bay was so significant. And the final game of the regular season will be at the L.A. Rams,
who seem to have found a newfound ground attack with the running of Jerome Bettis, who is just an outstanding young football player, a young running back out of Notre Dame. This is another must first down. You hate to say that. They got to keep this drive going.
Third about a half yard, and Worley has it.
You know, he's not making big yardage, Marv, but you got to give the kid credit because he's making a lot of good plays out of plays that aren't very well blocked. Right here, the vision, head up running, bounces it to the outside, and he makes the first down. The whole inside is pretty well jammed up. Watch him change direction. Good job. Good job of getting up over top.
And now Robert Green and Craig Hayward at the running back positions. That's Green peeling off, and now flanks out. Willis steps up, and his pass almost picked off by Cragen. Intended for Hayward.
I think that's the one thing a quarterback cannot do. There's going to be some good plays in a game. There's going to be some bad plays. When it's a bad play, don't complicate matters by making it a worse play. In this situation, P.T. Willis is trying to make something happen on every play. I think sometimes that can be the downfall of a quarterback. You've got to let things flow. Sometimes it's a bad play. Take the sack, come back to live for another day.
It has not been a good one for Peter Tom Willis. 8 of 19, 55 yards. Intercepted once.
Tom Dronette was on his back.
Very well done, except it is Shane. Close. Second down and 10. And it is completed this time to the backup tight end, Ryan Wednight, a rookie from Stanford, making his first. Check that. It's Curtis Conway. Curtis Conway on the reception. It'll be a third down and 1.
The thing that's interesting, when they did take Wardy out of the game, they brought Green in the game instead of bringing Neil Anderson in, and I would say that there has been a falling out of grace with Neil Anderson. We got the bad formation look here. We definitely have a bad formation. We have no tight end on the left side.
And Peter Tom Willis over to the sideline to talk it over.
It seems the more time goes by, the fancier trucks get.
Just a bunch of chrome and snazzy stripes. What the? You, Chef. No.
So Mazda went and asked folks what a truck should be.
I need a real truck.
And learn one very important lesson.
You don't run through mud and ballet slippers.
Introducing the bigger,
It's bigger.
meaner, all-new Mazda truck. The only import with a 4-liter V6 and 1 monster warranty.
Gotta tow my dinosaur.
The new Mazda truck.
I like my dinosaur. It's a good dinosaur.
Mazda. It just feels right.
For his retirement, Neil McBain had no intention of slowing down. That's why Dean Witter mapped out his financial course with only one goal in mind: victory. Dean Witter.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Geronimo thunders across the big screen like a herd of wild horses. Jason Patrick, Robert Duvall, Gene Hackman, and Wes Studi as Geronimo. Rated PG-13. At theaters now.
So, Dave, what's happening at Wendy's?
We're making our new Big Bacon Classic.
Really?
I didn't know that. It's a whole quarter-pound of fresh beef, cheese, and lots of toppings.
How many?
3 big strips of bacon.
How many?
The new Big Bacon Classic with an order of Biggie fries and a big icy drink. You better come hungry.
Who's ready for dessert? Oh, no, thank you.
Wendy's, another thing to love about the holidays.
Nobody's eating anything.
I wonder why.
New Year's Day on NBC. The #1 Nebraska Cornhuskers battle Heisman winner Charlie Ward and the #2 Florida State Seminoles. Tom Osborne faces Bobby Bowden, 2 coaching greats each in pursuit of their first national title. It's a primetime showdown for the national championship. The Federal Express Orange Bowl, New Year's Day on NBC.
This is something we didn't do very well last year with the Chicago Bears, is to make third down in short situations. So far, the Bears 3rd and 3 or less are 3 for 3, which is excellent.
It's a 3rd and 1 right here, and Hayward is stopped.
You can't go to the well that many times, gang, because they had everybody but the coaching staff up on the line of scrimmage there.
Craig Hayward, gunning for the first down, was stopped.
This surprises me. I really thought they might go for it here, but I understand it.
Well, you hear the booing. Fans would like the Bears to go for it. You would have taken the shot?
Well, I'm up here. I would have taken the shot while I'm up here. If I was down there, I probably wouldn't have taken the shot.
We're not cutting out here.
Yeah, we might crop out a little bit.
Gardocki with the punt. And it rolls inside the 5.
Gets the job done.
A minute 36 remaining in the third. A 40-yard punt. We'll be back in a moment.
Since your face can't adjust to your razor should adjust to your face, which is exactly why we designed the Schick Tracer. The Schick Tracer is the only razor with blades that bend and flex to the unique shape of your face. So the Tracer gets in close for a clean, comfortable shave. And since you can't change your face, maybe you should change your razor. Schick, we're changing the face of shaving.
You're looking at the most powerful import pickup ever built. The new 4-liter V6 Mazda truck. What all the beautiful people are driving this year.
Yeah, golf. Football. Golf. No, football.
Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents Full Contact Golf. Yeah! We're still on the first hole, Bob, and this is Davis teeing it up. Here's the drive. It is blocked! Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste and less filling, you can combine anything. Oh, he's got daylight going for the green. Here's the putt. There's the blitz. Yeah! Oh, good beer. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this?
Behind every new Mazda truck is an unsurpassed 50,000-mile, 3-year basic warranty. And behind that, who knows?
Well, yesterday after practice, I had an opportunity to have a long chat with one of your favorite people, defensive tackle Steve McMichael, and I asked, what is the difference between this year's Bears and last season?
It seems like everybody on the team is playing football harder. And that's what used to put Ditka in a tirade, when he'd see a guy out on that field not giving it everything he had, not living up to his potential. Because that's that French word that means you ain't worth the shit yet, you know. You ain't done nothing yet. Get out there and do something.
Well, I couldn't have said it more eloquently myself. Yes.
And the give to Robert Del Pino.
This is what the Bears are playing for right here, Marv. They pinned them in deep in their own territory. If they make a mistake, the Bears are going to end up with excellent field position. Or if they don't make the first down and have to punt the ball away, the Bears have a chance to come down and get some points out of it.
Steve McMichael showing us the pirate look when we had our conversation.
Well, he's got to do something. That hair comes down to his ankles.
This is a guy who amazingly has had 6 knee operations, 3 on each knee, and still doing the job at age 36. Elway unloading long range and throws it away. Cedric Tillman, the intended receiver. Well, the Chicago Bears passing on some bad news. Their receiver corps has already been depleted, but we're told that Tom Waddle is out the rest of the way with a pulled hamstring.
Well, that's a big loss, because Tommy Waddle, I think, is the most instrumental guy in their offense in the passing game. Now they're going to have to find out if Conway wants it or he doesn't, because he's got to go out there and perform.
Denver 3rd down and 7 from their 10. They lead the Bears 13-3. The hole for Bernstein, but he is stopped. Stopped by Dante Jones.
That's a big-time play right there, because Bernstein was on his way for a first down. Dante Jones is playing an outstanding game of middle linebacker. And, boy, I tell you what, I don't know how many people it surprises, and to say that it doesn't surprise me a little bit, I'd be a liar, because Dante, when he did play, he played well, but he always got hurt. And this guy is playing not only well, but staying healthy, and he's become a leader on this Bears defense.
The coaches say that Dante did not work as hard when he was a backup. He's working much harder now. Here's the punt by Rowan. Just did get it away. Obi is back. Obi on the return. Saw an opening and brings inside the 50, a 44-yard punt, 10-yard return. Bradford made the stop, 3/4 complete. Denver on top. Back after this from your local station.
Sunday on an all-new Sequest, Lucas is seduced into a dangerous cult.
We can reshape civilization.
Now it could be too late for rescue. Sequest, NBC Sunday.
Yeah, money's tight. So I shop for lower prices, and my Christmas budget can still afford to buy something special here.
Gaddis presents holiday savings on the Lady Daisy Salon hairdryer with 1,100 watts and 154 air jets. Or give her the soft bonnet hairdryer by Lady Daisy. Gentle, even airflow, temperature-controlled heat.
It's one thing to be on a budget, quite another to look cheap. Our budget can afford a better gift here.
Fred P. Gaddis Company, where you can afford a better gift.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
I saved at Direct.
I saved with Direct. I saved with Direct.
I saved with Direct.
I saved at Direct. I saved with Direct.
Join the thousands who have saved money on their car insurance by calling Direct, where you can get instant coverage, down payments as low as $35 and easy payments as low as $25. So pick up the phone right now and call Direct Insurance Company, 1-800-444-4211.
Beale Street is the place to be this New Year's Eve. As FM 100, WMC TV5, and Lady Luck Casino present New Year's Countdown to 1994. Rock in the new year with music, videos, and a look back at 1993. Join Dave Brown, Kim Clark, and Steve Conley for this party from the birthplace of the blues. Our coverage begins at 10:30, so make plans to join FM 100, WMC TV5, and Lady Luck Casino for New Year's Eve Countdown to 1994, live on Beale Street.
Cheating spouses beware. Someone you love may hire a decoy to catch you in the act. Watch Inside Edition.
It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. The 7-6 Bears going against the 8-5 Broncos, a matchup of two teams who are battling for their playoff lives. Marv Albert with Mike Ditka as this fourth quarter unravels. Denver 13 and Chicago 3, and the Bears in good field position start up at the Denver 48-yard line.
And this has been the story of the game. They've had great field position all through the game.
Willis with the overthrow intended for Obi. He was covered by Smith through 3 quarters. The stats on the even side, except for turnovers, 3 committed by Chicago. The big one, the strip of the quarterback, Peter Tom Willis. It led to Denver taking it in eventually from a yard away.
And so indicative of what the Bears have done defensively this year. They've really got enough turnovers on defense to offset everything that the offense has done wrong. Right, this football game, they're not doing it today so far.
9 of 21, only 64 yards. Trying to set up a screen. It did not work. Intended for Worley. And the Bears hearing it now from the crowd.
You know, the interesting thing right now, Marv, up until this point, the Chicago Bears have 120 total yards on offense. They average 245 for a game this year, so this is probably one of their lowest productions of the year. I think a lot of credit has to go to the Denver defense. I think a lot of credit has to do for the very poor showing of the Chicago Bears offense.
Chicago Bears offense has been, for the most part, invisible this season. It's a 3rd down and 10. The completion to Hayward. And he has a 1st down. Lilo Lang made the stop on Craig Hayward.
Boy, I tell you, I disagree with this type of defense. You're playing the first 2 downs, you play aggressive defense. The 3rd down, you drop everybody back. Again, this is the 2nd or 3rd time in the game where the ball has been dropped off to a man on the line of scrimmage who's run the 10 yards for the 1st down. I think you got to play them aggressive. You got to tact on defense on 3rd down. Get out of that defensive mode where you're sitting back and waiting for something bad to happen.
That was Charlie Waters, the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. 1st down for the Bears. And Worley, once again, breaks tackles. 70 yards, 19 carries for Tim Worley, who was taken down by Greg Craig, and he picked up 6. It's a 2nd down and 4 at the 30.
I venture to say if Tim Worley stays healthy, that's probably the last you'll see of Neil Anderson running the ball for the Chicago Bears, if he stays healthy. Because I think they got to like the job he's done for him today, Marv. He's done an excellent job of running with his head up and picking some holes that weren't there.
It's a 2nd and 4 for Worley. Once again, running well, looking for the marker.
He made it.
Tyrone Braxton on the stop. And some extracurricular activity that is quickly broken up. Do the Bears have a tendency at times to hold on to some of their older players? Of course, so there is, from one point of view, allegiance. You like to see that in some cases, but in other times, well, I mean, have you been guilty of that?
I've been very guilty of it. I think it's something that happens sometimes in a sport that has lost its loyalty, like football and baseball. You know, sometimes you get attached to those players that play hard for you, that maybe are 1 year past their prime or even 2 years past their prime, but you know they can give you something in certain situations. So you have a tendency to keep hold them a little longer for their leadership or for the quality that they bring to the team and character. And you really can't do that, because the game has got to be played with athletic talent. It can't be played with how much you like a guy.
It is a first down for Chicago, and I would think, Mike, with the new salary cap regulations, we're going to see less and less of that. It'll be very difficult to hold on to guys who have hefty contracts if they will not be of value.
I don't think there's any question. I think with the salary cap, you're going to see some higher paid players and some lower paid players, and they're going to spin out a lot of that middle area where they're paid pretty well.
All right, the rookie Conway now flanked to the left. Obi in the slot to the left. First down for Chicago at the Denver 26. Willis with the time, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Dennis Smith, who decides to run it out.
Boy, is that a dumb play. Is that a dumb play? Great play on the interception, and a dumb play to bring it out. Now you put the defense at a great disadvantage starting from the 4-yard line. You would have had the ball on the 20-yard line. He made the play. He did the great effort. He made the interception. Leave it alone at that.
And we're talking about a veteran player, 13-year man, Dennis Smith, who comes up with his third interception of the season. Had he stayed there, they bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Well, I'm faulting him. I say it's a bad play. Dennis is trying to make something happen. He might have thought he could get up and run 103 yards for the touchdown, but, you know, you got to take reality and potentiality and what's really fact. In fact, you should have laid on the ground.
Have you been hanging around Don King recently?
Yes.
Potentiality. Right on the slant. Here's Bernstein starting from the 4. Chris Zorich, Dante Jones combined to make the stop. There's Dennis Smith.
I didn't mean to be that hard on you, Dennis. I love you. You're a heck of a football player. You're what I call a banger. You bang people around out there, and that's the way the game should be played. And he's a gentleman. We had a great discussion with him yesterday. Very quiet spoken. He said his back was bothering him. His back didn't look like it bothered him too much on that play.
Mike, take it and give it. Second down and 4.
He must put some bread upon the waters.
Bernstein. So Rob Bernstein battling his way for a first down. Sean Gale made the stop. 3 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. And with Chicago driving, Peter Tom Willis picked off a moment ago by Dennis Smith. Denver holding on to that 13-3 lead, and they now have a first down from their 16.
You know, I think one thing about the Bears all year, you know, they haven't played the greatest offense, but I think the one thing is they've not turned the ball over a lot as of late. Today they have 4 significant turnovers, and I tell you what, I think that they might go through a change here.
Cedric Tillman.
One-on-one. You got to close the gap, Mr. Blaylock, or you're going to get in trouble.
Tillman with his third catch, doing it in the face of the corner, Anthony Blaylock, number 47.
Right here, there's no dance contest here. You better go up and fire your gun. I mean, because if you stand like that, a good receiver, you do that to a Jerry Rice or Andre Reason or some of these great receivers like Michael Irvin in this league, they're going to make you look pretty bad.
The Denver Broncos with a record of 8-5. They've won 3 of the last 4. They are only 1 game behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Denver and the LA Raiders at 8 up, 5 down. Tomorrow, Kansas City home for San Diego. Raiders home for Tampa Bay. Now next week, Denver will play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Mile High, and they finish up with the Los Angeles Raiders. These teams all in position for a wild card spot as they wind down to the final weeks.
It's kind of interesting. I think Tampa Bay plays all 3 of the teams that are in the running for the playoffs in the Western Conference, the American Football, their Western Division American Football Conference. It's kind of interesting that it's all going to come down to how well Tampa Bay plays against those three football teams, which are three pretty good teams. The Raiders, I still feel have great talent and an excellent chance to do something in the playoffs. Kansas City, as long as they keep Montana healthy. And of course, I tell you, you've got to look realistically, because I believe San Diego's got, Humphrey's playing good right now. The offense looks like it's getting on track, and they play great defense.
Last Sunday in Tampa, the Buccaneers beat the Bears 13-10. Chicago winning the battle of the statue, but lost the game there. It is short of a first down, 2nd and inches at the 26. And that is a first down picked up by Robert Delpino.
There's a lot of pushing and shoving down there, Marv. It looks like the tempers are flaring a little bit, and that's exactly what you don't want to have happen, whether you're a Bear player or not. Now, go ahead, you got to keep your cool right now and stop the Denver Broncos on offense. Try to create a turnover, give your offense the football back, and see if you can get something on the board.
It's a first down at the 28-yard line. 10 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the fourth. Short set again by Elway. And a good catch by Arthur Marshall. Bears say no. And they are calling it incomplete. It's called a bobble, and he did not have possession.
Was it a bobble or was it a bangle? I'm not sure. It could have been either. But we're going to say that it was a bobble. And we are absolutely right.
I don't know, you scooped it.
He scooped it right after it hit the ground. It was a good call by the officials. Once again, they're on top of this game.
It's a 2nd down and 10 at the 28-yard line. Milburn trying to go to the outside. Stopped by Trace Armstrong for Milburn, his first carry of the day. He's a combination running back / wide receiver. You talk to Glenn Milburn, he says he's a hybrid player. His playing time has diminished recently, so he is all for playing a bit at the wide receiver position.
Reminds me of a lot of a guy we had with the Bears for years who made great contributions to the Chicago Bears, a guy named Dennis Gentry. Dennis Gentry was he did everything well for us. Played in the backfield, receiver, special teams.
3rd and 6. Elway from the shotgun. Able to hang in the pocket and complete. Well, Tony Kimbrough, the rookie from Jackson State, with his 2nd catch of the day. Well, Elway faced the pressure, hung in, and he threw a rope.
I tell you, he did face the pressure here, and they were closing in on him, both Trace Armstrong and Richard Dent. He hung in there. He made a great throw, but the line gave him enough time to get it off. The line gave him enough time. Kimbrough worked deep downfield and got hit on an in route.
This is a drive that began back at the 4-yard line off the interception by Dennis Smith. And Denver moving upfield. Ron Bernstein on a slant with a good run. Stopped by Mark Carrier. 9-yard pickup for Bernstein.
I think what we're seeing now is we're seeing a little bit of a dissection of the Bears defense. I mean, I think that the Denver Broncos at halftime, I think the offensive coordinator, Jim Faisal, I think they made some great adjustments. And they're attacking what they think. I don't know if there's a weakness in the Bear defense, but whatever they're attacking, it seems like they're doing it much more effectively than they did in the first half. And I think if we compared the first half yardage to the second half yardage, you'd see that.
It's a 2nd and 1. Ninth play of the drive. The Broncos have had the ball for almost 5 minutes. Another Denver first down. Robert Delpino picks it up. Richard Dent made the stop. We're up on 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. The Broncos with a 13-3 lead on the Bears here in Chicago. The snow has stopped. 35-degree day in the Windy City, and Dave Phillips is very satisfied just to run out this fourth quarter. Wade, of course, the son of former NFL coach Bum Phillips.
Bum has a lot of, really has tremendous pride in the job that Wade has done, and I think Wade has done it. What a great bounce.
Nice move by Bernstein to the outside where he was hit by Armstrong. So Bernstein running well, picks up another 7. He's gone for 78 yards on 16 carries. Well, that's what you were making note of a moment ago. Denver turning things here in the second half, 131 total yards to 51 for Chicago.
Well, I think that was right there is a good example. Rod Bernstein, you know, he was kind of a misused player at times, I guess, with the San Diego team. Because I tell you, this guy here's a football player. There's the counter gap again. All it is the counter weak side. And what the Bears are closing it down very well, but they're getting nobody outside to contain it. You'll see right here, you're blocking down. You got a lot of angle blocks. You're pulling these two men. He's going to start this way and come this way, and we'll see what happens. Watch Dent close down now. He's all the way down inside, but he's too far. Although he knocks down the blockers, there's no containment outside. They don't have any force at all to push the play back to the inside. Therefore, Bernstein is free to run for a first down.
Ron Bernstein went healthy, one of the toughest running backs to tackle in the NFL. That's Delfino. But Bernstein has had injury problems over the years with San Diego. I'm wondering, he runs high, and I know some people feel that because of that running style, he has been hurt.
Yeah, but a lot of great runners ran high. O.J. ran with vision. He had his head up. You know, Marcus Allen runs high. There's a lot of good runners that run high. Guys that run too low to the ground, for one thing, they trip over their own feet or they fall head down first. I think you got to run with your head up. You got to have vision.
Second down and 11. 13th play of the drive. Denver's had it for 7 minutes now. And Elway's pass right at the line of scrimmage to Arthur Marshall. Stopped by Joe Kane.
That's one for the stats. I think it's a completion, but it lost a yard. I think John,
you get the idea. He's aware of that. Yeah.
To pad the completion numbers, but not a good way to gain yardage.
It is 3rd and 11 with 5:35 remaining. In this fourth quarter, 13-3, Denver with the lead. Only one touchdown in the game. It turns out to be the big play. Delfino, 1-yard run. That coming off the fumble by Willis. Penalty flags are down. Yes, Milburn stopped by Armstrong.
Back at the play.
And we'll hear the explanation from Red Cashin. Against Chicago.
First down. Not quite. Not official.
And that is the 4th penalty of the day against the Bears. Denver has not been assessed.
And I tell you, it's hard how sometimes these things go. It's unusual rather than not hard. It's when you get a team that can go a football game, you're into the last 5 minutes of this game, and not to be penalized. I think a lot of it has to do with good coaching and a lot of discipline on the part of the players, because coming into Chicago and playing a penalty-free game is no easy thing to do, and you got to give Denver all the credit in the world.
And Armstrong, number 93, called on the offside. So it's a 3rd down and 6. For Chicago, 22. 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Elway is put down, so they're short of the first down. Richard Dent will get credit. And they're calling that a running play, so there will not be credit for the sack. Those of you keeping score at home.
Well, he gained yardage. When you gain yardage, they can't call it a sack, but in all essence, it really is a sack because Denton did his job. He effectively stopped the drive where
41-yard field goal attempt for Elam. A hit from 29 and from 24. The line drives it. No good. Last week, Jason Elam hit a 53-yarder. And he's done the job from long range, but he misses right here. He had hit 3 out of 4 from 50-plus. But off the mark, timeout called, 4:21 remaining.
Dean Witter believes every investor's success story is unique. From getting in on the ground floor to getting all the way to the top, Dean Witter can help you make it every step of the way.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Somewhere between sundown and sunrise comes Stetson Sierra. So distinctive, it's the new power of attraction.
Wouldn't it be great? Yeah! If you invented a special potion that turned anybody into Rachel Hunter, the supermodel.
Ralph, would you take me for a walk?
Cool.
Ralph, we gotta work all weekend.
All weekend.
And your special potion turned ordinary beer in a can into Keystone, Keystone Light, and Keystone Dry, specially lined for really smooth bottle beer taste. Ralph, mind if I join your party? Sure, Bert. Come on over. Wouldn't that be great?
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by De Beers. Make this a Christmas she'll never forget. Diamonds. By Dean Witter. There are many ways to measure success. Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time. By the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. And by Keystone, Keystone Light and Keystone Dry. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
Welcome back to Chicago. 4:21 to go in the fourth quarter. The Broncos with a 13-3 lead on the Bears. Bears first down from the 24-yard line, and Willis in trouble. Simon Fletcher with the sack, fourth sack of the day for Denver. Well, Mike bringing the entire family to the game.
Well, you know, I recognize Curly, Mo, and Larry, but I don't know who the two guys on the end are.
What a fine group showing their support.
You got to have it all. I tell you what, you got to have it all.
It's a 2nd and 11. Penalty marker is down. Christian on the reception has a first down. Big hit at the end of the play, and it was Christian ramming with Atwater.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, it might be a great hit, but it is really bad defense. Now, you guys, this is about the 4th time in the game that it's happened. Everybody is dropping back. Nobody is covering the man coming out in the flat. And these guys, listen, I don't think any of them are invisible. He's coming out there. Get somebody up there and cover. This is the 3rd time they've hit a guy in the backfield, and he's run for a first down. Watch everybody dropping back here. Everybody's out of here. Everybody gets back. This guy runs the shortest route you ever see, and he ends up catching the ball. He comes right out here. Everybody's dropping back. I don't understand it. Look at him. Somebody made a mistake, but you don't play defense that way.
Christian made the catch, and this time it's the tight end Ryan Whitnight on the reception for 13 more. Darrell Hall, the backup defensive back, on the stop. They are in the hurry-up with 3:35 to go in the fourth quarter, and Chicago trailing by 10 points. First down at the Denver 47-yard line. Willis, after looking it over, completes again inside the 35-yard line. He has Terry Obie. The right corner, Frank Robinson, on the stop. Certainly a little bit easier to operate under these conditions, so the Bears...
Regardless if it is or not, at least they're throwing the football down the field and they're giving a little bit of time to do it. He's got time again. Christian again. Now, you know, it's very simple when you keep somebody in the short area to come up and hit that guy. I mean, to me, that's bad. I'm sorry. I don't understand it because I never will understand it because I guess I was an offensive-minded coach.
It's a 2nd and 10 when we resume. Timeout taken, 2:51 remaining in the fourth.
For 75 years,
So I called back home and said, Dad,
I'm considering a tattoo. Don't even think about it, I said. But I already knew. Too late.
What could he say? I mean, he has one. Yeah, but I was young and stupid and innocent. Okay, so I'm not so innocent.
True friends deserve AT&T True Rewards. Introducing the only program that gives you points for frequent flyer miles and free AT&T minutes.
Your true voice.
Images can change. Just like that, with the Rebel in each and every EOS lens from Canon.
Image is everything.
EOS Rebel and Rebel S from Canon. So advanced, it's simple.
Some people get nasal congestion, but if you get sinus congestion, use a sinus spray like Sinex. Only Sinex has a decongestant plus Vicks Vapors, so you can feel your swollen passages open up. For sinus, think Sinex.
Braun Flex Control. The first electric shaver with a pivoting head. It automatically adjusts to every contour of your face. Flex Control from Braun. Braun, the last word in shavers.
Just try Black & Decker's Power Driver with torque control. You'll notice one major difference, the clutch. The higher the setting, the more powerful it gets. Power Driver and Power Driver with torque control from Black & Decker.
It's the culmination of the world's largest basketball tournament. 3-on-3 on the Court of Dreams, as the top team in the nation takes on NBA legends Michael Cooper, George Gervin, Bob McAdoo, and Calvin Murphy. Plus, Michael Jordan goes one-on-one with NCAA Player of the Year Cheryl Swoops. Hoop It Up, coming up next on NBC.
A look at tomorrow's NBC NFL schedule. Some big games there. Buffalo, Miami, Houston, and Pittsburgh, San Diego, Kansas City. Second down and 10 as we resume with 2:50 to go in this fourth quarter. Side-off pass picked off again. Steve Atwater with his second interception of the season. The pass intended for Terry Obie.
Now the receiver that Peter Tom Willis threw the football to was open, but it was a great play by Atwater to read the play and come all the way across.
So, we'll be back after this.
You want to know about Michael Irvin? Well, I'll tell you about Michael Irvin. Man has no fear. I remember this one play when, yeah, he was running a deep slant against the grain, against a swarming secondary. Oh, yeah. Does Michael hear the footsteps? Does Michael fear the footsteps? No. Michael locks in. Michael holds on. But I hear the footsteps. You hear those footsteps?
You build a new razor with precision heads to shave below the skin in comfort. And what do you get? Cut a precision groove to help the Norelco lift and cut system shave even closer. And what do you get? Build a razor that shaves closer, smoother than ever before. And what do you get? The new Norelco razors, our closest shave ever.
Hey, the Miss Perfect pageant. Yeah.
We're watching hockey.
Hockey. Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents the Miss Perfect Face-Off.
Okay, Bob, Miss Georgia goes to the corner. She plays the right. Here's the puck coming loose. The shot. She goes.
Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste and less filling, you can combine anything.
Oh, that'll be smashing. 2 minutes for Miss Congeniality.
Bad call. Good beer.
Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this?
Christmas afternoon, the presents have all been opened, except for 3 from NBC. First, the NBA's most dominant player, Akeem Olajuwon, leads the Rockets against Charles Barkley and the Suns. Then, a possible Super Bowl preview as the Oilers battle the 49ers. And Shaquille O'Neal goes prime time as the Magic meet the world champion Bulls. All Christmas Day on NBC.
.239 remaining. In the fourth quarter, Denver has taken over off the fifth turnover of the day by Chicago. Bernstein getting the call.
Look what happens on the play. You got a guy coming down the field here. He looks open. PT sees him up. Watch that water close on the ball. Really, PT does the right thing, PT Willis, on throwing the ball, but Atwater does a great job of playing a 2-deep zone, reading the throw, and cutting across the receiver because actually Terry Obie had got behind his defender.
And there is the pick by Atwater, his second interception of the season. Timeout taken by the Bears, so they have taken their final timeout. 5 turnovers for Chicago. 3 interceptions. Smith, Atwater, and Dronette picking it off, and 2 fumbles, one by Willis and one by Worley. Well, we mentioned coming up tomorrow, 4 games on the NBC schedule, including Buffalo, Miami, Houston, Pittsburgh, New England, Cleveland, San Diego, Kansas City, the big ones involving Buffalo, Miami, and Houston, Pittsburgh. You look at the AFC East. Buffalo coming off the win over Philly. They have Miami at 9-4. Houston 9-4. They've won 8 in a row. Going up against Pittsburgh with a record of 8 up and 5 down. It's a 2nd down and 3. And they have picked it up. As we come up on 2 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter.
As I said, Marv, Bernstein's rushing. Yes. But he has done a great job of rushing the football in the second half.
If any other statistical questions you'd like to ask Elliot Cowell, Mr. Stats, feel free, Mike.
Panasonic presents a unique and highly evolved Smooth Operator. The new Smooth Operator 2 with float control is the only razor to unite the comfort of twin independent floating heads with the closeness of a warm, wet shave. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. The new Smooth Operator wet-dry razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you would be.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser. The people who bring you Budweiser wish you and yours the very best of everything this holiday season.
Citibank has really given us a new sense of self because we have our own identity.
I have a Citibank Visa card, and it does have my photo on it, so I have one less worry.
And not only that, but you can pick what you like. It doesn't look like a DMV photo.
I don't know why the other credit cards aren't doing the same thing. We need a photo card. The family members can tell us apart.
Introducing the first credit card with your photo and signature on front from not just Visa, Citibank Visa.
The Bills, the Dolphins, the critical game in the AFC East. The winner snaps a first-place tie and earns the upper hand towards the division title Sunday.
Well, go ahead, Mark. Wade Phillips and his staff apparently on the way back to Denver with victory number 9 on the season. Record of 9 up and 5 down. And that man has had a very strong second half. Rod Bernstein.
Well, he's had 77 yards in the second half alone, Marv, and he's got 103 on the game on 20 carries. And I think that's really the big difference in the game. I don't know how many backs have rushed against the Bears defense for 100 yards, but I know very few of them have. Actually, I believe none have this year. I know that Barry Sanders did not for Detroit, and the Bears have played the rush extremely tough the whole year. So I think Denver's going to be willing to run the clock out and go home with a victory here.
20 rushes, 103 yards for Bernstein. The previous high, Barry Word, 94 yards at Minnesota back in September. Rod Bernstein, 103 yards. The stats on Elway, 14 of 24, 113 yards. Certainly not a spectacular day, but did enough for the victory in very sloppy field conditions.
But very effective because he didn't turn the football over. Again, he didn't let the Bears defense beat to him, and I think that's what Wade Phillips tried to stress all week coming into the game. You must make the Bears offense beat you because it's going to be hard for them to do without scoring points.
All right, stay with us. After the game, we have a full post-game report coming up, including talks with Jim Kelly of Buffalo Bills, Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Bill Cowher, Dick Lampley back in the studio along with O.J. and Paul McGuire. Time is running out. The Bears will drop to 7-7. 2 critical losses last week to Tampa Bay and here this afternoon at home to Denver in terms of their playoff quest, while Denver will go to 9-5. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. And the Broncos now only a half game behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is home for San Diego tomorrow. And we'll be back here in Chicago to hear from John Elway and some of the other Broncos when we come back.
That's the end of the game.
Debbie, these shots are fabulous. Beautiful, Debbie.
Better than the last time, Tony?
Absolutely. It's my job to make sure people look good. A few weeks ago, while doing test shots with Debbie, I noticed something. Dandruff. So I told her about Head & Shoulders. You see, regular shampoos merely rinse flakes away, so they could come back. But look, Head & Shoulders helps stop flakes from even forming. You see the difference? Yeah, picture perfect. Head & Shoulders turns dandruff problems into beautiful hair.
Back in Chicago, the Denver Broncos over the Chicago Bears, 13-3. Denver down 9 up and 5 down. An efficient day for the Denver Broncos as opposed to the Chicago Bears, who committed 5 turnovers, 3 interceptions thrown by Peter Tom Willis, making only his 3rd career start. Jim Harbaugh sidelined the Bears, saying the bruised right hand did not come around, so a couple of changes made in the lineup with Tim Worley, who played well, going at running back instead of Neil Anderson. And the story for Denver, the running of Rod Bernstein. 20 carries, 103 yards. That man was quiet. Shannon Sharp, after the 10-reception, 3-touchdown day last week, had only 2 catches for 20 yards. Well, right here, we're going to go back to our New York studios. Let's go to Jim Lampley.
All right, thanks a lot, Marv. A reminder that the Cowboys-Jets game doesn't get underway until 4:03 Eastern Time, so invite all of you to stay with us for the Head & Shoulders post-game report. We'll head back to Soldier Field to hear from some of the winning Broncos. We'll preview tomorrow's NFL schedule, highlighting some key divisional games in the AFC. We'll talk to Bills quarterback Jim Kelly. Buffalo visits Miami tomorrow. We'll also talk to Pittsburgh head coach Bill Cowher. His Steelers host the Houston Oilers tomorrow in a very important AFC Central game. A lot of ground to cover. We'll get started right after these messages from your local station.
All across the Pacific, they're playing our song. Come fly the airline that's uniting the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd in the best Back to the Future of them all.
It's a hold-up! It's a science experiment!
Back to the Future 3, NBC Sunday.
I can afford better gifts here because prices are low. Besides, spoiling grandchildren is kind of a hobby.
Priced for Christmas savings, Gaddis has the Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover. It's a practical family gift. Save at Gaddis on the Wall Dynaflex Shaver. Dad can plug it in or shave cordless for up to 2 weeks. And the Pentax IQ Zoom 115S is the world's smallest and lightest zoom camera. Fred P. Gaddis Company, where you can afford a better gift.
It's an ultimate home furnishing sale with ultimate selection, ultimate savings, and ultimate terms. At Fleming Fine Furniture, the ultimate furniture store. Tonight till 9. Merry Christmas.
What's it take to be the Mid-South's news leader? Dave Brown.
Weather is something that affects each of us each day that we venture outdoors.
The only local radar and the most experienced weather forecaster on Memphis television.
We've seen the fads come and go, but we feel that we're really able to give you better weather information if we're sitting right there where the equipment is at the moment.
Dave Brown, only on Action News 5, the Mid-South's news leader. The Addams Family and the Munsters, the Silly Shockers, tonight at midnight on TV5.
This is the Head & Shoulders NFL Live post-game report, brought to you by Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1.
Welcome back. As we told you, we've got a lot ahead of us on this post-game report. Our battery of experts arrayed here, ready to talk about Denver's first win in Chicago in 17 years. But right now, back at Soldier Field, Hannah Storm stands by with John Elway. Hannah.
John, you've had to win thus far this season simply with your explosive offense. How satisfying was it today to have a total team effort, your defense giving you some opportunities with those 5 turnovers?
They really did. They did a great job, and the offensive line had another great day today. They really, in weather like this with a field like that, we're going to need the running game, and boy, they really did a great job up front against a great defense. And Rod Bernstein ran as good as I've ever seen him run, so it's very satisfying, especially come to Chicago and with the circumstances to get a win.
Well, Rod Bernstein, one of the key free agent acquisitions that the Broncos made to surround you in the offseason. You have so many weapons now. We were talking about it yesterday, and it really benefited you in a game like today.
Well, it really does, and you never know what the weather conditions are going to be in. We've thrown the ball a lot all year, but today we really needed the running game, and boy, the offensive line just did a heck of a job of blocking, and Rod Grant ran great.
How bad was it out there, and what did the Bears do to take you out of your game defensively?
Well, they didn't do a whole lot. We knew just with the field conditions, and the ball was kind of slippery, and we're having a tough time downfield with our routes, breaking it off and those type of things. So when you got a guy that's 240 pounds sitting behind me, boy, it's the best way, the safest way to go with him, let him and hammer him at him.
Yeah, you got some injuries, though, at wideout. You lost Vance Johnson for the season, Derek Russell out today. How does that hamper your plan at all, and how do you think it'll affect you guys down the stretch?
Well, you know, we're young there, but we got a lot of talent there, and we're just going to have to be patient. I think that hopefully we get Derek back before the Raider game, and we did lose Vance, who was having his greatest year ever. So we're going to just have to be patient and keep working on it, keep practicing, and hopefully by the time the playoffs come around, we're ready to go.
How personally satisfying is it for you to know that you are given the chance to carry this team from start to finish if you need to, but you don't have to?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of pressure off my shoulders, and I think that with Mr. Bolin going out and doing what he did in the free agent market, especially on the offensive side of the ball and the offensive line, and also Robert Del Pino and Bernstein and those type guys, that, boy, it makes it a heck of a lot easier for me and a heck of a lot more fun.
You seem really happy.
I am, and this is a big win for us, and now we got to get 2 more, and we'll be really happy.
All right, good luck against Tampa Bay, John. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Send it back to Jim in the New York studios.
All right, Hannah Storm, thanks very much. Paul, I'll start with you. The mathematical possibilities in the AFC playoffs are endless. But suppose that Denver makes it as a wild card and must play at some point at Pittsburgh or at Buffalo. They learned some things about their offense today that might help them, didn't they?
Yeah, they learned that they really can run the football. Everybody, you know, put all the weight on Elway's shoulders for years. And again, you know, when you look at it, I said at the halftime of this game, 30 times in the fourth quarter going into the season, he had won games for him, 2 times so far this year. This team is a pretty solid football team. They just cannot afford any more injuries. I mean, they're wide receivers, they're depleted there. They're down to the bare minimum, so they can't afford that. But I think the one thing that gives them confidence going into the final games is the fact that they ran the ball against one of the best defenses in the National Football League, the Chicago Bears.
And they did it with a running back for whom they've been waiting, Juice, to show them that he could elevate their offense. Rod Bernstein, he did it today.
Rod has done the job for a number of years now. He's been able to do the job. What's important this time of the year is the fact that Denver is playing their best football right now. I mean, you think of last week, they had a big win against KC, and they've beaten a team today that has beaten some of the best AFC teams. You know, they've beaten Kansas City. So Denver can run the ball this time of the year with the weather getting bad all around the league. It's a team that's going to be able to run the ball that's going to win going into these playoffs.
And with all the emphasis in Denver on the coaching change, Will, maybe Bolin didn't get enough attention for picking up Rod Bernstein and Robert Del Pino.
Well, I think we made too much today out of Bolin and out of Wade Phillips and all that stuff. You know, the guy that left there has done a hell of a job with the New York Giants. He's a hell of a football coach. And I think we're overrating the way that Denver ran the ball today. They ran the ball today against a good Chicago defense because that defense let them have the run today. You mentioned how good Shannon Sharpe was and how important he had been in the Denver office. You noticed that he caught only 2 balls today. So you could see the Chicago try to take him out of the game. And they succeeded in taking him out of the game, but in doing that and focusing the attention on him, they made it much easier for Denver to run the ball. And this is why I'm surprised that Chicago didn't adjust back to that. Once they saw Denver was running, why didn't they get off Sharpe and try to stop the run? And in a difficult day, try to have John keep on throwing.
But that's precisely the importance of having a lot of weapons, right, Jude?
They have not a good running attack.
I don't, maybe they're not, but the guy ran for 100 yards, and you can't subtract that. And they play against the other Sharpe brother twice a year, and they've been able to play well against the run all year, Will. So I think Denver did a heck of a job today. I don't think anything was given to their running game. This is like school. They were able to run the ball effectively, and in this weather and in this type of field, this is what you got to do to be able to
I think, Will, you missed the point. The point is this, that the Denver Broncos offense adjusted. to the defense of Chicago Bears. The Bears' defense did not adjust to anything.
That's what I
now,
said.
all right, I understand it. But if you're going to say, okay, now we're going to forget about Sharp and we're going to concentrate on the defense, they're going to go back to Sharp. So what they did today, which is smart football, they took what was available to them. And that's what smart coaches do to win football games, and that's exactly what the Denver Broncos did today. And the Chicago Bears offensively could not do that because they don't have the players to do that.
Now, wouldn't you think, you're in the game, Coach McGuire, wouldn't you think, when you saw how difficult it was to throw the ball today, when do you see John Elway throw for, what, 113 yards, you would say, wait a second, maybe the conditions here today are going to take Shannon Sharp out of the game by themselves because Elway's having difficulty throwing the ball. So now we come off and play the running game.
But the other guys too?
Juice. Wait a second, Juice. There's a difference between Sterling Sharp and Shannon Sharp. This guy's a tight end and plays in the middle of the field. Sterling's an outside guy. That's a different ball game. You can't talk about
the point you were making.
The
point you were making is that they put a lot of emphasis on stopping them throwing the ball, and they were able to run because of that. That's wrong. That is totally wrong.
No, totally right.
This was tough running today. These guys did a great job of getting the tough yards running the football. This Chicago Bear defense is good against the run and the pass. And as I was saying, they played against better receivers as far as I'm concerned than Shannon Sharp. And they were able to stop the run.
I just want to make one point here. I'm sure that Mike Ditka had a wonderful time calling the game with Marv today, but he's going to be sorry that he missed this. I can guarantee that. Quickly, before we go away, let's take a look at the AFC West standings right now, reflecting the victory by Denver, which gets them to within a half game of Kansas City. The Broncos, 2 regular season remaining games, at home against Tampa Bay, on the road against the Raiders. Coming up next, we'll bring you our visit with the Bills' Jim Kelly as the Head & Shoulders post-game report continues. Have at it, guys.
In half a minute, millions of people will be focused on me. Hey, I want to look every bit the professional sportscaster. Can't have flakes. I had them. Not now. Not with this. You see, Head & Shoulders gets to 10 times more of the places flakes start than it did just a few years ago.
5 seconds.
That keeps my hair looking its best and me in top form.
All set.
Especially when I'm facing some of the biggest names in sports.
Whoa. Head & Shoulders turns dandruff problems into great-looking hair.
Was I surprised when my dentist told me I had a tartar problem? I said, "Doctor, I brushed with a fluoride toothpaste with baking soda and peroxide." He said, "Products like that have no tartar-fighting ingredients, so your teeth aren't as clean as they could be. Use Tartar Control Crest." "But doctor," I said, "shouldn't I use baking soda and peroxide?" "Pete," he said, "those ingredients haven't been proven to do anything special." So I used Crest, and my next visit was great.
Tartar Control Crest. It's proven to fight tartar buildup. It's the dentist's choice.
No more surprises for me.
This is the Head & Shoulders NFL Live post-game report, brought to you by Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1.
We welcome you back to our record-length post-game report. We remind you it's a big day of football tomorrow on NBC. It begins at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live, and then the game that many of you will see is the AFC East showdown between Buffalo and Miami.
This is almost like a playoff game for us. I mean, it's a must-win for us.
This game is very important. I think even the rookies realize that.
They hate us, and we hate them until after the game we kind of hug and kiss, so I don't know how better to put it.
The showdown in Miami, the 9-4 Bills and the 9-4 Dolphins squaring off for sole possession of first place in the AFC East. Miami, beset by injury, will start quarterback Scott Mitchell, who returns after having missed 4 games with a separated shoulder. The Dolphins hope he'll be able to ignite an offense which has failed to top 20 points in the past 6 games.
We have to tune our game up. We've been sluggish, we've made mistakes, and in a game like this, you know, we've got to really come at it.
On defense, however, the Dolphins are without 3 of 4 starters in the secondary. The latest casualty, cornerback Troy Vincent, suffered a season-ending knee injury Monday night.
This really can't alter a lot of the things you do, because if you try to adjust all your personnel in there, you have confidence in the people that are playing positions behind people, or you wouldn't have them on a team.
The Bills, winners of 6 of their past 7 games in Miami, are also banged up, but they fully expect most of their walking wounded to play.
We're 10 on people, and if it was the beginning of the season or middle of the season, maybe I'd back off another week, but right now I think they need everybody out there they can get.
The Houston Oilers, winners of 8 straight, can clinch the AFC Central with a win in Pittsburgh. The Steelers, without Barry Foster, now gone for the year, come off consecutive nail-biting victories, but also fresh in their minds the 23-3 loss to Houston 3 weeks ago, a game which ended with an outburst of animosity and bitterness on both sides.
All that cheap shot stuff going to take care of itself because I know we're going to be coming out swinging.
I guarantee you, if anything needs to be settled, we'll settle it after the game. There's no qualms about that either.
Pittsburgh, late in the year, is going to be the toughest game that these people are going to play all year, and maybe any year.
The 9-4 Chiefs host the Chargers, last year's AFC West champs. They could clinch their first division title in 22 years and also help establish home field advantage for the playoffs. The Chiefs are hoping to bounce back from a tough loss in Denver. Another come-from-behind effort led by John Elway.
We control our own destiny. Denver can't do anything about us. San Diego can't do anything about us. The Raiders can't do anything about us. As long as we take care of our own business, we will be able to get the things done we set out to do early on.
So it's a busy day tomorrow. More now on the Bills against Miami. Earlier today, I talked to Bills quarterback Jim Kelly. Kelly, as you remember, was banged up in last week's win over Philadelphia. We began by asking Kelly about those injuries.
Well, it was my shoulder and my ankle, but the ankle's feeling pretty good. The shoulder, it's a little sore, but overall it'll be all right come Sunday.
Of course, Jim, the most significant injury in the game is one which has existed for so long we almost have to remind ourselves about it. But when first you played Miami this season, Dan Marino was still on the field. Will it feel unusual to play against the Dolphins without Dan Marino?
Well, yeah, a little bit, especially for our defense. I guess it really goes to show that one person really doesn't make a whole ball club, because I can remember when I went down, the team rallied behind Frank, and then when Thurman went down. But I still consider Dan one of the best quarterbacks to play the position, and he's just one heck of a guy that I enjoyed playing against. But it goes to show that the Miami Dolphins are a total team, and I know they miss Dan, without a doubt, not only his what he does on the football field, but his leadership too. So hopefully we can capitalize on him not being in there.
Jim, do you guys talk about the fact that you're 6 out of 7 down in Miami? This last 7 times, you've won 6 times. They're very successful in Miami. Is that on the bulletin board?
No, but I think it's in the back of everybody's minds, including the Miami Dolphins. But this is a different year, and you have to take it that way. You can't just go down there and expect to win. You know you're in for a dogfight, and we know every time we face the Dolphins, we're in for a fight.
Jim, over the years, we expect so much from the Bills that when you guys don't play up to everyone's expectations, there's talk that there's infighting and there's bickering among the Bills. What is the state of the attitude among the players right now, and what's going on in that locker room?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're excited. We came off a big win last week, and anything that can make headlines, whether, bickering Bills sounds perfect. So I guess that's why they always try to bring it up. But we're as close-knit as team as we've been in the last 3 or 4 years. And, yeah, we struggle at times, but I guess when you're so used to seeing the Bills on top, first and second in offense in the league, and right there going to the Super Bowl each and every year, I guess people start getting spoiled a little bit, and they have to have something to write or print about. So we just go out there each and every week and have fun, and hopefully we'll see the playoffs come our 4th year.
One overwhelming personal situation for you. Your mother suffered a heart attack about a week and a half ago. Game ball last week at Philadelphia. How's she doing, and what did it mean to you for her to get that game ball?
Well, number one, she's doing fine. She's in stable condition. She's been lifted out of intensive care into her own room now. So it's very hard to prepare during the course of the week, but I knew in my mind what she wanted. She wanted that win without a doubt. And just to see the team rally behind myself after the game in the locker room, saying that on behalf of all the players, Steve Tasker got up and gave a speech saying that you have to know Mrs. Kelly. She's like a mother to all of us, and it made me feel really good. It definitely touched a deep spot in my heart.
A warm moment in the Buffalo locker room a week ago. Well, Kelly and the rest of the, quote, bickering Bills, unquote, getting tired of all of the Buffalo bashing. Paul, why won't it go away?
I live there, and I'll tell you, it really is strange, because you're in a one-newspaper town in Buffalo. And the guy said some things. Andre Reed said something about the coach. He got fined for it. What little bit it was, he got fined. But the problem is that the media won't let it go away. The players have said some things. Now, here's a team for 3.5 years dominated football as far as offense is concerned. Scoring points all over the place, the best offense here and there. And all of a sudden, they lose a couple of ball games, and it's questionable whether they're going to get to the playoffs or not. And everybody goes nuts, and they just wait for a player to say one small thing. And once it's done,
They won't let it alone. The players put it aside. The coaching staff, they put it aside. The owner, Ralph Wilson, put it aside. But the media won't.
Well, then why does it bother them? Juice, the whole thing about team unity is, in most sports, overrated, I think.
Well, in this situation, I agree with McGuire completely. This is a team that they're so close. They've been there so many times that they can argue among themselves. They can say what's on their minds. I don't think it affects how they play on Sunday at all. I think that they become somewhat predictable offensively right now. I don't think it has anything to do with how they relate to one another. They are somewhat predictable offensively. Teams have watched them in the playoffs. They've watched them every year. Everyone knows their offense. I personally believe that maybe Jim Kelly should call his plays. Jim said something to me once, that when I'm calling the plays, sometimes I will not call the right play versus the defense, and it will work anyway. I think they need a little more of that. I think right now that that they're very predictable. They know, everyone knows what they're going to do in certain situations, and they're trying to run those plays in that situation. And because they've played more than any other team in football over the last 3 years, they've gone to the Super Bowl. They've played more games than anybody. Everybody knows this offense, and they just need to mix it up a little more.
Hey, it only makes sense that as you phase out a James Lofton who gets a little bit old, as they lose Andre Reed with the elbow separation, that they lost some of the explosiveness in their offense. What about the game against Miami?
Was that an answer or a filibuster? I mean,
I know you were just sitting at the edge of your seat.
I was waiting for you to get
protect those riders in Buffalo.
No, that's why I'm going after him right now. My understanding is all the trouble in Buffalo comes out of your TV show. Don't you have a TV show up there where you start all this stuff every week?
I am loved by everyone.
I know that, but you still start the trouble, from what I understand.
When's the last time you were invited to Jim Kelly's house?
Never. That has nothing to do with it.
I don't expect it either.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed in that town that he's in, though. That's one of the reasons.
We all know, in the last 3 years, from stealing the tapes off the Buffalo shows during the week, all this stuff starts on everybody's own TV show. Isn't that where Reed went off earlier this year? He was on his own TV show, in a radio show. When you look at cities, let's make this point. Houston, they tell me, has, Jimmy, like 21 different shows for the Houston Oilers. The trainer even has a show. And so when you see all this stuff about Houston, beefing about one another, offense, defense, Buddy Ryan, Jack Potty fired, it all comes off their own shows. These guys get on there Monday night after the game, and they tell the truth for a change, and this causes trouble.
The point in Buffalo is that historically they've gotten well in the last 6 years. They've gotten well against the Dolphins, and this is a perfect opportunity for this team to get well. The Dolphins, with all their injuries, defensively, the Bills are playing great defensive football, and if they can't get well this week, they shouldn't be in the playoffs as far as I'm concerned.
Indeed, the perfect build-up for our telecast of the game tomorrow. And we'll be back here to listen to a conversation that Hannah Storm is going to have with Broncos safety Dennis Smith, another Trojan Juice, when we come back.
SC.
Want a taste you can't resist? There's no bag chips you can pop like this. Chips and bags that bust to pieces. Brings you down with all their greases. Pop Pringles can't stop. Pop the Pringles can't. You got the Zack, you got the bunch. For a whole lot of taste of the Pringles crunch. You got the duck-bill lizard too. Only Pringles rings taste like this to you. The Pringles can't stop. Pop the Pringles can't. So can those bags of fresh whole chips. Nothing like Pringles crush your lips. Yeah, once you pop, you can't stop.
It's coming. The worst breath of the day, morning breath. And ready to meet that sticky, pasty film head-on. A whole new feeling of clean. A clean as fresh as snow. Introducing the new cooling formula in Peppermint Scope. Its antibacterial action still kills millions of morning breath bacteria on contact. And compared to that other glue, more people prefer its new cooling formula for leaving their mouths feeling cleaner. Discover a whole new feeling of clean. New Peppermint Scope.
The Bills, the Dolphins, the critical game in the AFC East. The winner snaps a first-place tie and earns the upper hand towards the division title. Sunday.
Welcome back. Despite O.J.'s entreaties, we denied him the right to consult with fellow Trojan Dennis Smith about what he'll say in this upcoming interview with Hannah Storm, so we're going to play it as it lays, O.J. Hannah, take it away.
O.J. sends you his Trojan greetings. I just want you to know that. Back in the studios, your first ever interception, Dennis, was here in 1981. You had a key one this afternoon, but why didn't you run it out of the end zone?
Well, I fell on my head in that particular. And when I caught the ball, I fell on my head. I wasn't thinking very clearly, but I heard somebody say, get up, let's go. So I got up and I tried to regroup, but And I think, you know, I should have kept it in.
Well, we certainly don't want to make light of the efforts by you and the defense. 5 turnovers, and it's an effort that you guys really needed because you'd been relying on your explosive offense to win on the football games, and I know you were fairly depressed yesterday when you spoke to us about the way the defense had been playing.
Well, I knew we would have made a lot of mistakes this year, and I think we're capable of playing great on defense, but we hadn't done it up until this point, and we knew that their defense was great, a great defense also, so in order for us to have a chance, we had to shut their offense down, and today we did that.
How much did them starting a Peter Tom Willis, a guy that hasn't had a lot of experience of starting a game, how much of that had to do with giving you guys some good opportunities on defense?
Well, we knew he was a little more inexperienced than Harbaugh, and we wanted to put a little more pressure on him, and I think we did that. We had a lot of sacks in the game and a lot of pressures, and it made him make some bad decisions, and I think the weather had a little bit to do with it also.
In order to try and spark their offense, which they weren't able to do, they did also start Tim Worley, and he had a fairly decent game. What were your impressions of him?
Oh, I've always been impressed with Tim. He's a great back and a big, strong runner, and they had some holes in the game, but once they got behind, the running wasn't going to help them as much as they had to put the ball downfield, and we had opportunity to get some interceptions.
You know, if you're going to play defense, you have to do it at this time of year because that's what wins games in the playoffs. So in terms of confidence for the defensive unit, how big a win was this today?
It was a great win. It was a great win. Coming off of such an emotional high last week and then to come back and really play well, I think even better this week on defense. This is the best time of the year to be playing well, as you said, and we just got to keep building on this and hopefully win 6 in a row.
What about the team as a whole? How strong are you guys going down the stretch? Your playoff destiny is in your own hands. Can you win these final 2 games?
Well, that's our goal. When we win 6 in a row, we'll be world champions, and that's our goal right now.
All right, Dennis, thanks. Congratulations on a good game, and good luck in Tampa Bay.
Thank you. I'd like to say hi to my wife, Andre, and my kids, Tiffany and AJ. I'll see you soon.
Happy holidays, Dennis. Send it back to New York.
All right, thanks very much, Hanny. He's got a son named AJ. I guess he was trying to name him after you and just missed by one initial. Dennis overshadowed through much of his NFL career by his former SC roommate, Ronnie Lott, but in him and Steve Atwater, they have what a lot of people believe is the best pair of safeties in the league.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think Dennis is playing just about as well as he's ever played, which is amazing at his age, but he has a lot of experience. You know, at SC, we're not supposed to talk about SC here, but at SC, they had Ronnie Lott, Dennis Smith, Joey Browner, and one of the better defensive coaches in the league today, a guy named Jeff Fisher.
But that team won't be playing in the NFL playoffs. Will, are they dreaming in Denver, talking about these 6 wins in a row that would make them world champs?
Well, you know, I think they got a legitimate shot at the division, but what impressed me about Dennis was he's so well-spoken for an SC guy.
He completed all 4 years.
He completed the 4?
Yeah,
See, he was a speech and communications major when our guy was in film.
Well, I took all of these guys under my wing.
Yeah,
these are sort of like my brothers, these guys.
You know what's really nice though is when you listen to Dennis talk, and I'm a little frustrated about the defense, but when you have Elway, you play so much better on defense because you know all we have to do is get the ball in his hands, and once you do that, they feel they can score.
They feel that all they have to do, and this was a philosophy in Denver for a lot of years, if we can stay close late in the ball game, Elway will win the game for us. Right. I've always been a firm believer is who's playing great at this time of the year. And right now, I mean, obviously, Houston has a long winning streak, but all of a sudden, Denver is playing just about the best ball in the AFC.
And against tough opposition. And while a lot of people thought that because Wade Phillips is so soft-spoken, he might recede into the background and go back to being a career assistant coach, he gets a lot of points, Will, for having delegated and restructured the offense in this first year of his command.
Yeah, Wade has done a fine job there. There's no question about that. And like we've said all throughout today, they did structure the offense to make it better for John. But I think in simple terms, their defense is not as good as it has been in the past. You know, Dennis and Atwater, and they got some outstanding players. But overall, when you talk to the teams that have played against them this year, they say Denver is not as good on defense as this year as they have been in the past. So therefore, I think Elway and the offense are going to have to carry him more than before.
But what's interesting, if you look at the New York Jets, they weren't worried about Ronnie Lott's age. They brought him in so that late in the year that veteran experience would come to the top and be able to play playoff caliber ball at that time. When you look at this Denver team with Carl Mecklenburg, 11 years, I believe, in the league. Dennis Smith, the weather is colder. Guys aren't going to be as quick in games at this time of the year. You're going to have off fields, and that experience is what's going to come to the top. And I think Denver is poised at the right place right now.
You know who goes to the Super Bowl? And it's very simple. the two healthiest teams at the end of this year. When it comes down to it, you take a look at there's not a dominant team in the National Football League, and when it comes down to the playoffs, it's going to be the two healthiest teams in both the AFC and the NFC that's going to end up there.
Profundity, always your strong suit, Dr. McGuire. Thanks very much for the tip. Coming up, we'll chat with Steeler coach Bill Calver. That'll be next as we continue on the Head & Shoulders postgame report.
You're deep in REM sleep, dreaming the big dreams. Because as Freud said, all men are great in their dreams. Suddenly, you don't feel so great anymore. You'll do the big things later. You hit the snooze bar. You hit the snooze bar. You hit the snooze bar. You hit the shower. You start soaping up with Ghost. Ghost is rocket fuel for the senses. Ghost is a big, bold blast-off that turns you back into a human dynamo. Ghost, the eye-opener.
Getting bored with just plain nuts? Introducing new Fisher Favorites Tropical Fruit and Nut Mix, a more exciting flavor combination.
Pineapple, papaya, sweet cream almond, honey roast peanuts, and whole cashews.
Crunchy nuts with juicy real fruit. New Fisher Favorites Tropical Fruit and Nut Mix, the newest Fisher Favorite.
It's Fisher flavor, or it's just plain nuts.
It's the culmination of the world's largest basketball tournament. 3-on-3 on the Court of Dreams, as the top team in the nation takes on NBA legends Michael Cooper, George Gervin, Bob McAdoo, and Calvin Murphy. Plus, Michael Jordan goes one-on-one with NCAA Player of the Year Cheryl Swoops. Hoop it up, coming up next on NBC.
Back on our post-game report following Denver's 13-3 conquest of the Bears in Chicago. We're going to take you back to Soldier Field now, where Hannah Storm continues to inventory the safeties around the league. This time it's going to be Mark Carrier, another Trojan from the Chicago Bears. Hannah, you've done it again. Take it away.
All right. Okay, Mark, we're on. Just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on. It's official. Oh, you guys really faced a tough task today coming in here with such an explosive offense. You did a nice job keeping them out of their game plan, certainly as far as the passing game went.
Yes, we did. We know they're top and one of the top offenses in the league, and we didn't want to get anything big. We knew we were going to run the ball because of the elements, too. They had some decent drives with Rod, but we mostly tried to keep him out the end zone.
However, the running game, Rod Bernstein, the first guy to rush for 100 yards against you this season. Why was he so effective?
Well, we did some things where he got outside and he started running the trap, but the big thing is that usually we do a good job keeping him in, and he got outside our defense and made some big yardage.
You know, Shannon Sharp is their leading receiver. He had 67 catches coming in to 3 TDs. Big game last week. I know you saw the film. What did you guys do? Did you key in on him?
Well, we knew who the big receiver were. We had some defense where we had, if we would have lined up in certain situations, we would have doubled him in some ways. But the way our defense, our pass rush was doing, we didn't have to.
Well, your defense did a nice job today, but your offense continues to be ineffective and continues to be a problem, although Tim Worley provided a bit of a spark today. Look, you guys are in a must-win situation here down the stretch if you want to make the playoffs. I mean, does the offense have to get rolling at this point?
Well, you have to. Everybody does. We all have to pick our game up another step. And, yes, we're still in the playoffs. We're not officially out yet, so we can do it.
Is it frustrating, though, as a member of the defense? Do you feel like you have to carry the burden for this club?
Well, when you have to go in timeout, that's the way it goes. You know, when defense has more pressure on offense in every game, no matter how many points we score, that's our job. We live with it.
All right. Well done. Good luck next week against the Lions, Mark.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas to you. Jim?
All right, Hannah, thanks very much. If she pops up in a minute with a Ronnie Lott interview, you'll know there's a reunion of USC NFL safeties going on at Soldier Field. Guys, let's take a look at the NFC Central standings just for a moment and check out the Chicago Bears' remaining playoff prospects. You can see now that the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions have a significant edge, a game and a half ahead of Chicago, both at 8-5 and down the stretch. Mike Ditka has been saying all along you have to look at Green Bay, which has the most talent on defense, the most explosiveness on offense. Juice?
I would say that, especially when you consider with the Detroit Lions, Barry Sanders is not there, and I think in the tough games they're going to really show that they miss Barry Sanders, and the simple fact that Green Bay is coached by another USC guy.
Oh, here we go. And with that comment, the one thing about Green Bay that you understand this, that they'll play Minnesota and beat them tomorrow. And then that will eliminate Minnesota. And they still have to face Detroit one more time, I think. Well, and they can win that division. Green Bay is, by far, I think, the better team in the division.
Detroit looking for new life with Eric Kramer. They got 3 touchdown passes from him a week ago, Will.
That was a real surprise. It really bothered me seeing I picked Phoenix in that game. I thought that was the lock of the week. You know, but The whole thing, I think, when you look at Detroit's schedule and the big games they got, we can't leave out San Francisco. I think they play them on Christmas Day, and that's going to be a real toughie for them at home. But I want to get back to my guy Paul and his injury theory about going to the Super Bowl. I was talking to your old pal Bill Parcells the other day, and he said they've suffered fewer injuries this year than any team in the league, so I can look for the Patriots to be in the Super Bowl in Atlanta. Is that what you're telling me?
No, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you the teams with players. This is a team that probably has about, maybe on the entire team, a dozen players. Come on. And you're playing with a rookie quarterback that doesn't have time to do anything back there. I'm sorry, it doesn't apply to the...
Will's so anxious to get in the chop block against McGuire that he had to leap back one segment to find the topic with which to do it. Thanks very much for that.
Here, you know.
Okay, well, there's a big game in the AFC Central tomorrow. The Houston Oilers visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Oilers leading the division by a game. They can clinch the AFC Central with a win in Three Rivers tomorrow. Earlier, I talked to Pittsburgh coach Bill Cowher and began by asking him about injured running back Barry Foster.
Well, Barry, I talked with him this morning. He's going to have the surgery done on Tuesday, so he'll be out for the remainder of the season. And, you know, as you have to do with any injury, while it's disappointing, we have to press onward.
Was it his decision to have surgery, or did the team concur with him in that decision?
Well, the decision is ultimately the players, and I think we're always, in every situation, our players' best interests are always at mind, Jim.
Your team has been inconsistent on offense without Barry. Is that largely because of his departure, or are there other factors involved?
Well, you know, anytime you lose a quality running back like Barry is, you have to be able to make up for that. And while we have been inconsistent, we feel as of late we started to get a little on track. But, you know, going down the stretch, it's going to be very important for us to have all three phases of our game working, because that's the only way we can be as consistent as we've been and be as successful as we've been. So other players are going to have to pick up the slack.
The specific criticism has been that you haven't been able to get the ball downfield to wide receivers. Is that a particular area of concern at this point in the season?
Well, I think the most important thing, Jim, is that we score points. You know, that, to me, however you do that, whether it's going the ball down the field, whether it's mixing up the run and pass, we have to find ways of doing that. I think we have to be able to take away the big play on defense, and our special teams has to perform at a better pace than it's been in the last couple of weeks. And if we can do that, which we've shown the capability of doing at times, then we'll get to where we want to get to.
On a positive note, every weekend here, our Mike Ditka sings the praises of Eric Green, and you have gotten him more involved this year than was the case a year ago.
Well, I think to Eric's credit, you know, that for the first time in the last few years, he's been able to stay healthy. He's been on the field. And, you know, when you have a guy with this much talent, who's as big as he is and has the ability to catch the ball as smoothly as he does, you have to find ways to get the ball in his hands. And he's been a guy that's been very consistent for us week in and week out.
Fresh in your mind has to be the loss to Houston a few weeks ago. You did not handle their pass rush in that game. What adjustments do you make?
Well, the thing we have to do is just understand some of the things that Houston will try to do to us. I think, you know, we maybe have a better understanding of their blitz package, that they've been formed very well against us and not only some other teams as well. But I think the thing we have to do is mix up the run and pass, be able to run the football much more efficiently than we did in the first game, and at the same time throw the ball on first and second down. And if we can do that and keep them off balance, as we've done throughout the year periodically, then we'll have some success on offense and moving the football.
Did Houston's success defensively against you convince you and Coach Dom Capers to go with a little bit more free-for-all style against Miami last Monday night?
Well, this will be our fourth time since I've been in Pittsburgh, Jim, that we've played Houston. And, you know, in three of those games, we've had different scenarios. I think the first game against them, we had a lot of turnovers. The second way, we took away the big play. The third time we played them, which was this year, we did not take the ball away, and we gave up the big play. So, you know, we have to get back to doing what we do best, which is take the football away and eliminate the big play.
It's been a crazy year in the AFC. Just when you're ready to anoint Buffalo or Pittsburgh or Miami or now Houston as the best team in the conference, lo and behold, they lose a game. Who impresses you?
Well, I think when you look at the AFC, I think it's very clear-cut. You have 8 teams that, with 3 weeks to go, anybody can be out of the playoffs and anybody can have home field advantage. So I think the old cliche that it's a 3-week season is very much true with the state of the union in the AFC right now.
And what's your advantage going into those 3 weeks?
2 of the games that we're playing will be at home, and I think that what we got to do is continue to play with the consistency we've been playing with from the last 2 weeks, and then take it into a role, hopefully taking it into the playoffs.
One big concern for you has to be kick coverage. It got you in trouble against Cleveland earlier this year. It almost cost you the game against Miami the other night. Have you worked on it this week in practice?
Well, I'd say we've worked on it. We've stressed it as we do really every week, Jim. And the thing that we have to do is understand the importance of it, which I think our players do. But we have to go out and execute. We got to get the kicks kicked where they're supposed to be, and at the same time getting people to cover. And, you know, we've lost some key players in our special teams through the course of the last couple of weeks. But the other players who step in, anytime you have any type of injury, have to get the job done. And it's going to be a very important element of our success, particularly going down the stretch.
Early in the season, Neil O'Donnell's arm and throwing motion were a question mark. Is he fully sound now?
Well, Neil's banged up, I think, as a lot of players are right now entering week 14. And so I think, relatively speaking, yes, he's fine.
All right, Bill, thanks very much for your time and best of luck.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, gentlemen, let's set up the game right now. And as we do, we'll take a look at the AFC Central standings, just to give you a graphic picture of what's at stake here. Houston 9-4 with the 8 consecutive wins. Pittsburgh 8-5. The logical choice here, Marv. Marv. Marv's out there somewhere else. The logical choice, Paul, would of course be Pittsburgh playing at home. But Houston is on such a roll that you can't be sure about that.
I look a lot like Marv, don't I? I do.
Marv himself would probably not say so.
You know, I did a game a couple weeks ago, New England game, in Pittsburgh with Neil O'Donnell, and I said this before, and I'm going to tell you, Lamps, the guy's arm is not very good. He cannot throw the ball down the field. And I watched him in a game a couple weeks ago against New England, and he was throwing the ball. I watched him Monday night against Miami, and even the 15-yard patterns, the ball is rising on him. He is not getting the ball on target. He has not thrown well since the Monday night game. They beat Buffalo 23-0.
So, Juice, the spotlight falls on two former Penn State teammates who, as backup running backs, now step up for their teams. Leroy Thompson of the Steelers, Gary Brown of Houston, who has been dynamite.
Well, Gary Brown of Houston's going to do a good job. I think in Pittsburgh, to win this game, they're going to have to run the ball. They got to keep this Houston team off the field. But it's tough running the ball against a team that stunts as much as Houston. I know when I played against stunning teams, even though they're stunning to get to the pass to the quarterback, it's tough to run the ball because you got to be able to read your blocks. You can't read your blocks. Everything is screwed up. I think Buddy Ryan should be assistant coach of the year, just like Mike Nolan will be the assistant coach of the year in the NFC. I think he's done a heck of a job, and I don't think Pittsburgh can win this game unless they can run the football.
Well, to play